Hello and thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. I'm Aaron Porras here with ILTV's Morning Briefing.
The IDF announced this morning that restrictions around the Gaza border communities erected Wednesday were now coming down. Schools and all other functions that were closed have also now returned to normal operations following the early morning rocket fire that fell on a Beersheba home. Hamas denies involvement in yesterday's attack, but as the governing body in Gaza, immediately following the attack, Israel launched a series of airstrikes against Hamas targets in the Strip. IDF spokesperson Brigadier General Manelis said, quote, "The rockets that were fired are self-produced and medium-ranged. Only two organizations in Gaza have such rockets, Hamas and Islamic Jihad. It doesn't matter who fired, Hamas bears the responsibility," end quote. Around 20 targets were confirmed hit, including weapons manufacturing facilities, headquarters, posts, and underground infrastructure, according to the head of the IDF Southern Command, Major General Halevi. Halevi continued that, quote, "Everything was attacked, was destroyed. It will be difficult for Hamas to rebuild and to bring in the money to pay for reconstruction," end quote. But that was just the automatic response. Israeli officials are still weighing different approaches to the recent uptick in violence, with the Security Cabinet convening first thing Wednesday morning, and then again a short time later for an extended 5-hour session. As part of their decision, the Deputy Defense Minister Eli Ben-Dahan announced that an Iron Dome battery would be stationed in the Beersheba area, at least for the coming days. And shortly following the meeting, Prime Minister Netanyahu visited the Gaza border areas himself, where he threatened again that Hamas would regret any continued violence. There seems to be some disagreement in the cabinet, however, as Netanyahu seems to have taken a wait-and-see approach, while Defense Minister Avigdor Lieberman is expected to demand a full-scale military campaign, which Energy Minister Yuval Steinitz says would be a mistake. Former National Security Advisor Major General Yaakov Amidror similarly stated that anything Israel did militarily in Gaza would just benefit Iran. And while that may be a simplification, it's not far off, considering Hamas and the Palestinian Islamic Jihad organizations have both condemned yesterday's rocket fire. They are instead blaming Palestinian Authority President Abbas for trying to instigate conflict amidst Egyptian efforts to broker peace between Hamas and Israel. Moreover, President Abbas's fault or not, Egyptian intelligence chief Abbas Kamel just announced a postponing of his trip that was scheduled to begin today due to the spike in violent tensions. He was set to visit Gaza, the West Bank, and Israel in efforts to continue brokering negotiations. Egyptian officials reportedly set a new date for Kamal's visit in the coming days. Now moving our focus back to Beersheba, single mother Miri Tamano and her 3 children were left homeless after yesterday's Gaza rocket attack destroyed their home. The rocket was launched around 3:39 a.m., causing sirens to blare across the Negev, and thanks to that, Miri was able to save her and her children's lives by using those precious few minutes before the rocket actually hit to drag her family to a reinforced room in the house. By some miracle, only 7 people were treated for shock after the attack, including Miri and her 3 children, and just 3 people were taken to the Soroka Medical Center in Beersheba for light bruising sustained while falling on the way to the nearby shelter. But while Miri Tamano and her family narrowly avoided a terrible fate, their troubles are seemingly only beginning. The Tamano family is now kindly asking the general public to help them, as Miri explained that they now need basic necessities, because, quote, "I have no home to go to, I have nothing," end quote. Miri wrote out a list of things that the family needs, including shampoo, conditioner, liquid soap, cleaning products, kitchen utensils, bottled water, sweetened beverages, and much, much more. The handwritten note by the mother also asked for donations of clothing, shoes, and games for her children since the damage done to the house was so severe they lost all their possessions. After reading the letter, Jewish Agency Chairman Isaac Herzog said the organization will provide the family with 8,000 shekels, or about $2,200. And Herzog also released an official statement saying, quote, "The Jewish Agency, through the Fund for Victims of Terror, will continue to assist as much as possible the residents of the South and the Gaza border region in order to help them cope with the effects of terrorism," end quote. The Jewish Agency Terror Victims Fund is supported by JFNA, Keren HaYesod, and foundations from all over the world. And since starting it, it's assisted over 7,000 families. But it's not going to be enough. So please, if interested in directly helping the Tamano family, Miri insists you call +972 50202 9695. In other news, Ari Fuld, the American-Israeli father of 4 and pro-Israel activist who was killed by 17-year-old Palestinian terrorist Khalil Jabarin in Gush Etzion last month, was memorialized in a heart-wrenching and powerful ceremony in Manhattan yesterday. Hundreds of people from all walks of life attended the commemoration, which was spearheaded by the Riverdale Jewish community and Riverdale rabbi Avi Weiss. One of the attendees was New York Consul General of Israel Dani Dayan, who spoke to the crowd and said that, quote, "The Fuld family decided a few decades ago that they wanted to cease to be spectators and to participate in the greatest adventure of the Jewish people in the last 2,000 years by immigrating to Israel," end quote. Fuld dedicated his life to pro-Israel advocacy and fighting against the BDS movement. He often countered anti-Israel groups, including the Jewish Voice for Peace and J Street organizations, and did everything he could to bring to light the facts, history, international law, and morality that encompasses the narrative of the Jewish people. Fuld also appeared regularly on the ILTV show Frenemies, among others, bringing his views passionately but respectfully to the debate table. And Fuld will be remembered as a larger-than-life hero even in his last moments of life. After he was stabbed in the back, in his final breaths, Fuld managed to get back on his feet, chase his attacker, jump a fence, and neutralize the assailant so that he couldn't proceed to hurt anyone else. The assailant had been heading towards a young female falafel stand worker, Hila Peretz, and by neutralizing the terrorist, Fuld managed to save her life. Peretz later said in a statement, quote, "The terrorist was right behind me. I started running down the stairs, but he jumped to try and get in front of me. The man that was killed really saved my life. He's not just a hero, he gave his life for me." End quote. Since Fuld's death, thousands of people around the world have come forward to salute his courage and his dedication to the state of Israel and its people. Fuld even recently received a posthumous Medal of Valor from the Public Security Minister Gilad Erdan. Ari is deeply missed by all who knew him.